Hello, everyone, and welcome to Black Equity and Excellence Fund Celebration and Conversation 2023. Today, we're going to be hearing from participants, from program officers, and past grantees about the fund. As you can see, the event is nice and, should I say, popping. Everyone came to celebrate, and the conversation has been going since 5 o'clock. If you were not able to make it, you can join us, join the conversation in the chat room. If you have a question as we go through the interviews, feel free to do so, but add a Q and a column so that we can find the question for you. We're going to be coming with the first interviewee, but before then, we want to send a shout out to a couple of people. We're going to send a special shout out to Central New York Community Foundation team, Corey Chad and Kiana Williams, as well as Devonna Lawrence. BE&E Advisory Council members, special shout out to Minister Mark Mohammed. And BE&E donors, special shout out goes out to Gwen, our favorite Gwen. She will be here today later as well. Now we're gonna go for the vendors that are making this event look awesome, not only with the food, but also with the decorations. As you can see, we have Rachel Johnson from How Hood Holistic, and she was a previous grantee. We also have Wayne Wright, Time to Eat Catering. I cannot wait to taste it. Kathy's Corner Cafe. She has a bar service. Yours truly, Anna Hale from Officially-Unofficial, who's doing the live streaming and production as well as hosting. We have Shania Bradley, Light to Darkness Photography, and you will see her behind the scenes doing her thing. We have Patrona Roser, Stay Opulent Decor. She was also a previous grantee. We have London Ladd, artist and illustrator, and I wonder if he was the one who created this amazing logo. We have Coleman's Florist for these beautiful flowers that you have seen on the table. And Everson Museum loaning art easels to display this incredible art that is decorating the room tonight. Yes, so everyone, like, look at these flowers. We're already getting some great comments about these flowers. A great job to Coleman Florist. Now, we will be right back with our first guest. And who is it? We will all know in a couple of minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back with our first guest. And it seems like you're always the first guest on all the events, right?
I don't know what it is. Just, the first one up. Okay, I'm happy to break the ice and get it moving. So.
Right, awesome. So we have Kiana Williams here, and she's the Program Officer, Community Engagement.
Yes.
And let me say, last year was the first event, right? The first networking event for BE&E.
Yes,
right?
The first social.
Yeah, the first social. And look at how in a year, right?
Yeah, this room is packed and it's not even like 5:45 yet.
You know what I mean? Right, exactly. And it is a conversation and connection, right? And that the title does it.
Yes.
Right? It serves so well. So let's talk about what do you do at the Community Foundation?
Yeah, so I'm Program Officer, Community Engagement. I have a number of different participatory grant-making programs that are in my portfolio. So really my job is to reach deeper into the community, not just work with the nonprofits and do the capacity building piece, but to let the residents know that we're here, that we want everyone in our community to thrive.
Yeah, and I love what you just said, because it's like not only nonprofits, right?
Right.
You are reaching everyone in the community, because as much as you can, right, with the programs that you can, because that's how we spread the word.
Yes.
Right?
That's the plan.
Yeah, and for those of you who follow Central New York Community Foundation, you know how amazing work this woman does. I mean, she just did a participatory budgeting meeting that went incredibly well.
Thank you. I so appreciate those accolades. But it took many people to make that happen, and it took the residents being at the center of that process to guide me through that.
Yeah.
And so I'm honored and indebted to our folks in the community for helping us to try to make some change.
Yeah. So going back to the Black Equity and Excellence Fund, how are you involved, and what capacity are you involved in the fund?
Yeah, so I am Darrell's partner in crime. He is lead on BE&E, but I also go out in the community and talk it up, try to get folks in to let them know that BE&E is there for them as Black residents. That projects that you may have, come talk to us. I support him with the application review and, just various things. Whatever he needs me to do to support, that's what I'm there for. I'm the supporting staff person.
Got it. Yeah. Team player. And for the applications, because I believe the applications are open or just closed? How is that?
It closed, yeah. Okay. So our council, which is comprised of 10 community members in various leadership roles, they actually are the ones who determine who gets the funding. So we have a very long review process. It's very thoughtful. We have a rubric. There's a really great system in order to rank the applications and things like that.
Right. So, and we're going to hear more about it from some of the council members later on today. Yes. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
But so the fund has been growing.
Yes.
Right? And since 2020.
Yes.
1.3 million?
Well, we're trying to get it endowed.
Okay.
So yes,
okay.
We're working towards that. That's what tonight is all about.
Yeah.
Getting funders and grantees in the same room together so that they're connecting and so those funders or donors can see this is the real work. This is what's going on.
Yeah. And it's a great turnout. Everybody wants to know about it. If you were not able to make it to the in-person session, you're here live streaming. You can have any questions and we will get the right person for you to answer it.
Yes.
If you have any questions regarding the fund, how you can get involved, which we'll be talking more about it later tonight. So Kiana, what has been your favorite part, right? Since 2020, right? Till now.
So I joined the foundation in 2022 early.
Okay.
So for me, some of the favorite parts is just seeing new grassroots organizations accessing the fund and doing some amazing work in the community. Black Girls Don't Get Love. 100 Black Men and their drone program. There's just so many groups that have been able to do some amazing stuff, especially throughout all the sectors.
Right.
So those things really, I'm always inspired.
Yeah. Do I hear we have a comment? Is that what it is? Okay, so let's go for it. Is it on LinkedIn or LinkedIn? Okay. LinkedIn, wait a second, please. We're going to go right into the platform to see what's going on in here. Okay, and production, you could actually read it for us, Oh, he doesn't have a microphone. Okay, so here we go. All right. The comment is, amazing project, says Joyce Placido.
Okay, thank you, Joyce.
Yeah, amazing project. Well, thank you, Joyce, for being here on LinkedIn. So any other questions that you guys have or comments, just like Joyce mentioned, feel free to write it in the comments for anyone in here. If you see one of your friends in the back, send them a shout out. We will find them. But Kiana, thank you so much for all of this, for what you're doing, for getting the community involved, for your dedication, because it takes, it's like, okay, I'm involved in this program and I'm doing, for example, going with the flow. You go above and beyond because you feel it. And we can see it in all the projects that you get involved in. And it's great to have you in the community and representing all of us and bringing that shine, right? And that explanation that sometimes it's better to hear from a woman, right? So I commend you. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing, and a shout out and a horn for Kiana.
Thank you, Anna. And I'm one of your biggest fans. So.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we'll be right back. Okay, everyone, thank you again for being here. My name is Ana Hill, and I'm hosting today Black Equity and Excellence Fund Conversation and Connection. Pretty soon we have a council member coming who is going to be talking about the process and her involvement and how council members are selected to be in the fund. So that's coming shortly, and then after Jalen is coming Darrell, who, as you heard from Kiana, is the mastermind behind the program. So that is coming up soon. Stay tuned. Okay, and we're back with Jalen Clifford. Jalen, you are a council member for the Black Equity and Excellence Fund, yes?
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Proudly.
you. Say that again, please.
Proudly.
Okay.
Yes.
So for those who do not know the amazing work that you do in the community, can you please do a brief bio, a brief intro of who you are behind?
Yes. So my name is Jalen Clifford. I am the Deputy Executive Director at Syracuse Housing Authority, but I also have the pleasure of being a council member at the Black Equity and Excellence Council. So we are tasked as a council with reviewing grants that come in on a yearly basis. Tons of applications that come in that are incredibly hard to choose from, but all that benefit our Black community in the city of Syracuse.
Yeah. And the terms of horn over here, just want to hear. Awesome. So how do you get involved? First of all, how do you get involved to be your council member? And how do if someone is interested in becoming a council member, how do they do that? If you can answer that.
Yeah, definitely. So I have been involved with the CNY Community Foundation through the Women's Fund. And one of my colleagues on the Women's Fund actually recommended me for the Black Equity and Excellence Council.
Okay.
So that's how I initially got involved, but certainly if someone is interested in doing kind of the good work that we do, reaching out to Darrell Beckingham who's our grant administrator through the Black Equity and Excellence Council would be a great first start.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. And the Women's Fund, I've heard so much about it. You're also part of it.
Yep.
You're doing your thing. I love it.
No, I mean, it's incredibly rewarding. Both the Women's Fund, anything through the CNY Community Foundation benefits our community immensely. The impact for these organizations that have dollars that don't necessarily stretch as well as these larger corporations.
Right.
It goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you mentioned that there are a lot of applicants, right? A lot of applicants coming in. What is the metrics? How do you all decide who gets the grant out of all those applicants, right?
Yes. So first of all, the staff at the Community Foundation does an excellent job at kind of vetting the applications first. They're going to look for the basic things that are on our website. So are you a 501c3? If not, do you have a fiscal sponsor? Do you fit the criteria as far as the ask from the Black Equity and Excellence Council? So do you fit into the specifics? If you do have a fiscal sponsor, for instance, you're eligible for $10,000 or below. So that's the basics.
Okay.
Do you benefit the Black community? Do you have partnerships in the community? So those are some of the basics that we look for.
Okay.
And then we really look at the overall impact of your ask, what your application is going towards.
Okay.
And it's incredibly difficult to choose an
Right.
organization.
Yeah.
Because everyone is great. Everyone has such a huge impact. But we love applications that come in that have videos with them or
Right.
photos. Anything that we can make that personal
Right.
touch is
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
Yeah, and that's great. And then so has there been one application or one that you were like, oh my gosh, we needed this in the community, and you got excited about?
So off the top of my head, last year, I mean, there's a ton, but off the top of my head, I think probably the Kia Foundation last year we gave a grant to.
The what?
The Kia Foundation.
Okay.
And that's an organization led by basically it's pet supplies and like a pet store that offers services for individuals that have animals, and that's something that was like very different.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that kind of stuck out immediately, and just the overall impact
Right.
for the community of folks who can't necessarily afford pet supplies because it's not
Right.
on the immediate list of the 1 through 5 of things that are necessary for me to live day to day. So that stuck out in my head.
That is different.
It is different.
That is
It
very
is.
different.
Yeah, it
So
is.
there you go. Like different is good. So if you
very
have
much so.
right,
Very
if you
much so.
have a great idea, then you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Send it. Right.
Always try. Always.
Yes.
Because even if it's something that maybe doesn't make the initial round, we always are up for giving feedback as to why an application didn't make it this year, but these are the things you can do to be stronger next year.
Right.
We also have informational sessions that people can attend, so they'll know kind of what makes a stronger application in the upcoming years.
Okay, that's awesome. Wait, do we have a comment? Is that what you're saying? Right, okay, let's see. Let's see on LinkedIn. Okay, we were checking out the Jalen's gonna help me because I really don't see. Okay, we got another phone here. All right, stay tuned. Here we go. Robert, hi. Thank you so much. I will send the message to Kiana as well. Awesome, and we have Corinne Ribble. Okay, Corinne, hi. Thank you for being in the chat room. Thanks, everybody. So yes, I mean, thank you for all of that. It is great to hear it from who's making the decisions behind the scenes, right? And then you seeing a program that you all selected come to fruition and see the impact that it has made.
No, something like this is so great because you get to see people who we've actually given grants to, people who hopefully will come back next year and ask for grants as well. It feels really great to be a part of this space. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, look at this room. I mean, you remember last year, right? And then look at this room full of awesome people, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to be hearing from another council member, and we're also going to be hearing from Darrell. So stay tuned, everyone. Jalen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so the program is going to get started. Darrell is going to do the introduction, and if we can pull up the agenda so that you can see who's coming and who's going to be speaking, you will be able to ask questions as they are speaking, and later on, if they will come and answer your questions if you have any questions for them. So that is coming up at 6, and from 6 to 6:30, and then we will come back to the more interviews and answer your questions if you have any. So production, if you can put up the agenda of what is coming. Yeah. Here we go. So that's it, from 6 to 6:30, Darrell, Sequoia, and she's gonna sing a song. You will be able to see it. Mark, Mohammed, Gwen, and Rachel. So stay tuned for that. Again, if you have any questions, just do a Q&A column so that we can find them, and go ahead and ask away.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. All right. So, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. I mean, just look at y'all. Look at y'all looking how y'all looking.
And you had food and drink.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. Please give yourselves a round of applause. That was whack. Let's try it again. Come on, come on. So my name is Darrell Buckingham. I'm the Program Officer for Strategic Initiatives here with the Central New York Community Foundation. That was a lot of words. One of my jobs here, of the many, is to lead our Black Equity and Excellence Fund. And it is an honor to do so. But certainly I do not do it alone. We have a rock star council that helps make decisions on the funding. Of course, we have my partner in crime, Kiana Williams, our other program officer. And we also have our finance associate, Devonna Lawrence, that does a lot of the background work. Raise your hand, Devonna. All right, all right. But specific to this evening, and I'll give some thank yous later, so I do not want to forget anybody. But our communications team was kind enough to provide me with a script because they know how I do. And so I'm going to read the script, but after I've done that, I will bring up some others who have some experiences and some reflections they'd like to share with you all specific to our Black Equity and Excellence Fund. You all right with that? I don't want to lose y'all now. So we all want Central New York to be a region where everyone is ensured a chance to meet their fullest potential. Now this means striving for a community in which neither race nor ethnicity determines opportunity and life outcomes, where all groups have the ability to participate and prosper. Our Black Equity and Excellence Fund was designed to be a part of this change by shifting the power dynamics that often become the default for communities across the nation. By funding Black-led community projects, we are setting out to reverse the patterns of historic underdevelopment and historic underinvestment, and build the momentum necessary to create lasting social change for the community. The BE&E Fund has awarded to date $1.3 million. And those funds have gone to Black-led organizations here in the Central New York region. We have also, since its inception in June of 2020, formed relationships and have had about 179 organizations apply for funding at the Community Foundation for the first time, right? 179, and so that speaks to the power of BE&E, but it also speaks to the fact that we've been able to tap into a segment of our community that we have not done so previously. And so we've done that. And so now it's about building those relationships, right? And so that's where we are. So it is appropriate that we have all come together on this August summer's night. Now, can anybody tell me the significance of August, the month of August? Say what there now? Black August. But it is also, of course, Black Philanthropy Month. And along with that, it is Black Business Month, Black August. So I want to thank you all again for coming out this evening. I hope you've had a little something to sip on. I hope you've had a little something to bite on. But we thought it was extremely important to help create a space just so you all could have conversation and eventually collaboration around the great things that you all are doing and will continue to do. Without any further ado, maybe to kick things up a little bit, I'd love for Sequoia Kemp to make her way to the front. She's going to grace us with a beautiful song. Yeah. I was going to do that, but...
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just first and foremost want to say thank you to the Community Foundation for inviting me. I'm just going to hold this mic because it's too hard to get it in there. And I want to say thank you because, you know, our center, Sankofa Reproductive Health and Healing Center, wouldn't have been established as a perinatal safe spot without the funding from the Black Equity Excellence Grant. So thank you so much for supporting us in that endeavor. Yes, give a round of applause. Thank you. Our collective has grown to about 10 women. We started with about 4 or 5 of us. We served over 600 families in the past 2 years, so through education and doula services. So we just want to say thank you so much. And it's summertime, so I'll be singing Summertime, which is one of my favorite songs. Summertime, and the living is easy. The fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Your daddy is rich, and your mom, she's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Summertime, and the living is easy. The fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Your daddy is rich, and your mom, she's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing, and you will spread your wings and take to the sky. But until that morning, there ain't nothing that can harm you, with daddy and mama standing by. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing, and you will spread your wings and take to the sky. But until that morning, there ain't nothing that can harm you, with daddy and mama standing by. Summertime. Thank you.
Summertime. All this time I thought we was family. Huh? I thought we was family. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I'll stay in my place. And so, very tough to follow that. But I would love at this time to also bring up another rock star, Mrs. Gwen Weber McLeod.
Oh, listen to you. Thank you so much. I want to tell you a little bit about why it was important for me to be here this evening. So just the cliff note of me is that I'm the president and CEO of a private sector leadership development corporation that's incorporated in my name. So my company's name is Gwen Inc. And when I incorporated that business, I decided it was going to be my legacy building business. The business out of which on a daily basis I did work that I believe God called me to do. And that work just happens to unfold in the lives of leaders and leadership teams across the country. But also part of my legacy building was trying to figure out strategically how I could activate my legacy while I was still alive. And I decided, I call it putting my legacy in action. And now, and as I look around this room, there are some young women here that are actively part of that. A number of my mentees and coaching clients are here. But another important aspect of that for me was to really think about the African American community's legacy of philanthropy and how it shows up in so many ways, from tithing at church to supporting the local food pantry to doing something and giving of your time. And my parents modeled philanthropy for the Weber girls. I come from a bunch of girls. Our entire lives, from making us collect our quarters and do something for someone good. So part of my legacy building was that my husband and I got actively involved in financial planning and thinking about building an estate. And our financial advisor is here, actually, it's Lee Gatta. And Lee is married to my husband's cousin. So whenever she's like, hey, cousin, people are looking at me, looking at her, I'm like, we live in America, it's possible. They don't kind of get the bloodline, but we're married to cousins. And I told Lee early on, I was probably in my 30s, that one of the things that I wanted to do at a certain point in my life was to leave a legacy gift. And then I don't think it's an accident that I became involved in the life of the Central New York Community Foundation. And I was telling Jan, who did a story about me, that every time I would walk into this building, I would see myself at some point saying to Peter, Tom, that now was the time that I was going to make this gift. And that all came to fruition for me last year. And I believe I'm historically obligated as a Black person to live my life in a way that paves the way for generations of people behind me. It's a historical obligation. That's what I was raised to believe. And my 91-year-old mother will still give me the side eye if I'm acting in any other way. And so one of the things that I decided to do was to explore how I could leave a major gift to the Black Equity and Excellence Fund. And I'm not only motivated by this historical obligation, I'm also motivated because a young woman that I've known literally since she was in utero, her name was Deshelle Elliott, was the conceptor of this. So over the last couple of years, Lee and I worked this out, and I, as of last year, officially left a legacy gift in the amount of $25,000 to the Black Equity and Excellence Fund. So I made the foundation a beneficiary of one of my life insurance policies, and when I did it, I literally was crying because I'm so proud of myself. Because as I look around this room, I hope that this investment that I'm making in this fund will help you and future generations of Black leaders, Black-led organizations do the things that you want to do in your lives, in your community, and your family. And I've left it open so that if for some chance, this won't happen because my homie's in charge of the fund right now, the fund isn't here, that I've asked the foundation to solely use that $25,000 in that way. And the motivating question in my life is, what type of ancestor will you be? And I think it's important for all of us to think about that. And I am so proud and honored that the 12th generation of my family will say, my ancestor, Gwen Weber McLeod, figured out how to live a life in and on purpose and leveraged her success and her financial resources to ensure that future generations of Black people had an opportunity to have an investment made in them that could be life-changing. So I hope that one thing I said inspired you, and I want to let you know that any gift that you leave to the Black Equity and Excellence Fund, we know that it's $5 on top of $5 in our community that gets it done. I want to inspire you all to become donors of this fund as well and put your legacy in action while you're alive. Thank you so much.
So as I always say, there are two things you can always do specific to BE&E. There's application and donation. If some of you see around the room, there are QR codes, so feel free, if you feel so froggy, to jump and use the QR code to donate. Now, this is certainly not a mandatory thing, but we always want to encourage those that also need to also invest, and so that we can all build collectively to make sure that that money is going in the right direction. So, without any further ado, I will bring up our last speaker, another rock star, someone who's also a grant recipient, Rachel Johnson.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. How you feeling? Hi. Listen, so they brought me up here to push the product. Okay? They paid me to push the product. And so I didn't know what they were expecting me to tell y'all, but I'm going to tell you what's real, because that's what I can do, right? So my name is Rachel Johnson. I go by Rachel J, and I'm the owner of an organization by the name of Half Hood, Half Holistic. Oh, you know that. Right? It don't get no blacker than Half Hood, Half Holistic. And if I do say so myself, it don't get more excellent either. And so we were so excited to be awarded a grant last year from the Black Excellence and Equity Fund, and that helped to propel the work that we do, the organization, and the reach and the impact that we were able to achieve. And we're in the middle, actually, of an impact assessment. And so when I got the text message, I ain't gonna tell you when, but I got a text message recently to come and speak. It was timely because we were already in the midst of a reflection, right? What are we doing? How have we impacted this community? And where do we want to go next? Now, I did prepare a presentation, but I sent it about an hour before we got here, so it's not uploaded. But we're just gonna walk through the story. Does that feel okay with y'all? Yeah. All right, so about 19, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. So Half Hood, Half Holistic is a holistic wellness business that is really geared towards culturally relevant and accessible healing services for the Black community. My background is in the mental health. I'm a social worker and a marriage and family therapist. And what I noticed is that we had all these services, and the people that needed the services were not getting the services. Insert any service in Syracuse, and you could say the same thing. Maternal health service, overdose services, any human services, right? There's money being allocated consistently to organizations, and it's not reaching the population that it's meant to reach, right? And that's a waste of money to me, right? And so one of the things that is so important to us being able to get this money was to be able to, one, have the audacity to do the work, right? It takes a lot of guts to form an organization that's named Half Hood, Half Holistic. But it takes even more guts to fund an organization that's named Half Hood, Half Holistic and trust us to do the work, right? Anyone can get a mental health program funded, right? But can you get a mental health program that's non-traditional? You haven't really seen it before. There's really no proof of concept. Can you get that funded, right? One of the things that I knew is that whatever we are doing is not working. So let's do something different. But in order to do something different, you have to have time, effort, resources. Y'all had some time on my hands. I had the effort, and y'all provided the resources, all right? So I'll tell you about our project. We took $10,000 and we created what we call the Come Get This Healing Therapy Fund. And that provided low and no cost services. And we focused on 3 specialized populations, but we opened it up to anyone. Our key demographics were Black men, Black mamas, and co-parenting relationship stuff, right? Because what we felt like is a lot of babies, a lot of parents, not a lot of communication, right? And that impacts the world. And so we really tried to hone in and hold populations that are not usually held, right? That you don't normally see services in. And so we took this $10,000 and we provided over 100 no-cost therapy sessions to families in this community. We provided 5 mental health evaluations, and every one of those mental health evaluations were for Black men. So don't let anybody tell you that Black men don't go to therapy, because they do, all right? We did 3 social wellness events, and at those events, we collected data at every touch point. So now I can tell you that we have proof of concept. And I can take that proof of concept and I can go to your larger organizations and I can say, listen, this works, right? And not only does it work, but actually people do want services. And actually people do care about their healing. And actually people will come through the doors, right? Because I think what's happening is there are organizations that are funding organizations, they're not doing the work. And actually the narrative is not that the organizations don't have the capacity to do it. The narrative is that the people don't want the service. And that's not true, right? And so having organizations like the Community Foundation and having the Black Excellence and Equity Fund allows us to tell our story, right? It allows us the power, it allows us the resources to tell the full story, not the story that is halfway slanted, right? It allows us to make impact that is culturally relevant, that is accessible, that's half hood, that's holistic, that's all of the things so that we can make impact in our communities. And so with $10,000, I would say we did the damn thing, okay? And so having a pathway to funding, to connections, to networks is not only just something that we can pat ourselves on the back, we made our quota for the year, this is super exciting, but it's shifting the paradigm, it's shifting systems, it's shifting policies, it's shifting a funding system that's fragmented, that's broken, that often only serves certain amounts of people, right? It is making sure the people that are doing the work on the ground have access to the tools and the support and the resources that they need to be able to do that effectively. Because if I have to be on the corner asking for money, I can't be in the therapy room healing the people, right? And so if I have somebody backing me, then that makes me feel like I can do this work and I can do it next year. And when they fund me again, I can do it again. Awesome. So I think I pushed the product. Did I do good? Okay. I'm gonna pick up my check at the door. So I just really want to say formally, my time is up. Okay. I just wanted to say formally, thank you to the Central New York Community Foundation. Thank you to Darrell. Thank you to Kiana, and thank you to the whole team for allowing this to be possible. Have a good night, y'all.
All right, and so, you know, I certainly want to do my thank yous now. And, you know, Ms. Gwen reminded me of something that I don't do often enough, which is to give a huge shout out to Deshelle Elliott, who at the time helped start the BE&E Fund, right? It was kind of her brainchild. Deshelle, of course, is no longer here, but she passed that baton, right? And so it's important that we take that baton and run hard, right? And so that's what we plan to do. A few other thank yous. Certainly, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my team, my CNYCF team, all those involved with putting this event together. My main man, Corey. Where you at, Corey? From the communications team. Corey held it down. Corey's responsible for a lot of the what you're looking at here today. So big shots out to Corey. Wherever you at, Corey, you hiding, but that's cool. That's all right. That's cool. Come on, Corey, you slow now. We running with the baton, Corey. Man, all right. Excellent, my man, Corey. So of course, the CNYCF team. I also want to thank our Black Equity and Excellence Advisory Council members. Those of you in the house, please raise your hand. Those of you that stayed long enough. All right. These are the folks that do the actual work of looking at applications and having really tough conversations. And of course, we have our 4-hour meetings that get pretty deep, very difficult decisions to be made. And so they do that. And to the donors, folks that have donated to the fund, no matter how big or how small, we do appreciate you and our future donors. Of course, Rachel Johnson, who you just heard from. Want to give a big shout out to Rachel. Another shout out to Sequoia Kemp for that beautiful rendition of Summertime. We're trying to hang on to that summertime. We know what it is around here, boy. Wayne Wright, Time to Eat Catering. Wayne is everywhere. Y'all know, y'all can't go to an event. Wayne just be in the corner like, yeah, that's me, I did that. Right? Kathy's Corner Cafe, who's providing the spirits for you all this evening over in the corner. Anna Gill and Officially-Unofficial doing the live streaming over here, over in the cuts. Sinead Bradley, our photographer, who is all in your face. Light to darkness photography, check her out. We also want to give a shout out to Patrona Rouser with Stay Opulent, who provides our colorful ensemble of tablecloths as you see. And my brother London Ladd, who is a very gifted artist and illustrator, and I'm probably not doing you any justice, but please check him out if you haven't had an opportunity to do so. We also want to shout out Coleman's Florist for these beautiful arrangements that they've provided for us, picking up the colors of our BE&E logo. I don't know if y'all caught on to that. That was a cool thing they did. Everson Museum, of course, providing little easels for London Ladd's work. And if I forgot you, number one, I apologize. Number two, all those that I just thanked, do it without the thanks. So remember that. But that is it, folks. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We still got time to chill out. We got another 30 minutes to drink, to eat, and to be merry. If you haven't hollered at your boy, feel free to do so. I thought I made it around the room. But again, big thank you to all of you.
I just got up my courage to say something.
All right. Oh, we're gonna have my brother want to say something real quick. This is one of our advisory council members. Many of you know him, Mr. Mark Muhammad.
Thank you, brother. Darrell asked me to come up and speak and talk about a few different things, but I was waiting for God to give me the right word to give to you today. And so what came to me is a scripture from the Million Man March, which is 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land. And there's a key component, and the key word for me is seek my face. And for me, that means to seek God in everything we do. Seek God in everything we do. So as I looked at the theme for tonight, conversation, celebration, and connection, all the conversations that take place here in this room, in our families, in our communities, should be centered around God, and if you don't want to say God, centered around good. The conversation should be about good. We have too many conversations about what's bad in the community, what's not going right in the community, all the violence that's happening in the community. And then that takes the focus that should be on God, and the devil gets more time than God gets. So our conversations should be about what's happening good. That's why it's the Equity and Excellence Fund. We should be looking for excellence. Excellence exists in our community. He just said London Lad. London's work, if you see it around here, it's displayed. Jaleel, excellent. Give him, yeah, absolutely. You heard from Gwen and Gwen Inc., Victoria, right? As I start going around the room, people are gonna be like, what about me? All of you. Like for real, that's the danger when you start naming people. But truth be told, I could name everybody in this room and say something good about everybody that I see in here. But guess what? Quiet is kept. There's good in the hood as well. Half hood, half holistic. Right?
You got it.
I know I got it. But I'm talking about the hood is good. We just have to look for that good. Second point, celebration. Let's start celebrating the good that we see. Let's start celebrating. That's one of the things that I'm leaning toward 2023 and beyond. It's doing this thing called Black Orange, accentuating and celebrating the positive, the individual and collective contributions of people living in Syracuse or connected to Syracuse. We have to celebrate that. We have to go over the top about it. And not just do it with each other, but do it with our children. Because we ain't doing our children right, brothers and sisters. We got to do them right. Let them know they are somebody. Even when they go against what we want them to do, guess what? They're doing what God has made them to do, because he's establishing a whole new world right here on earth. And what we tolerated, they're not going to tolerate. So let's lift them up. Let's lift them up. In the process of lifting them up, let's not forget their parents. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, how can you love the fruit and hate the tree that produced the fruit? We say we love the children, but then we don't want to treat the parents who had the children right. We have to start treating them right and doing better, celebrating all of them. And finally, the connection. We're connected in more ways than we think. I facilitated a funeral. What's today? Friday, so it was yesterday. Phew, a lot going on, God excuse me. So it was Coachman Lee Williams. A girl got up, Lorraine Williams, that talked about Coachman being her cousin. I've known Coachman for 50 years. I've known Lorraine for more than that and didn't know that they were cousins, even though they both have the last name Williams. And how many funerals have you been to where you find out that people are connected? How many funerals have you been to where the victim was hurt, somebody related to you, somebody you know, hurt by somebody related to you, somebody you know? But they didn't know their connection through you. Who just said, who was that? That was you. Talking about, I'm sorry, pointing at you. Your cousins, through marriage. Somebody look at you, black as I don't know what, right? Look at her, white as I don't know what, and say, how y'all cousins? They don't realize there's a connection. It doesn't have to be a blood connection to be a connection. We are all connected, one with another. What impacts and hurts you, impacts and hurts me. But on the flip side, what impacts and helps you, impacts and helps me. So, conversation, celebration, connection. Let's leave here and take it out there so that we can bring some peace in our community. May Allah bless you.
How much you shut up? And so we will end on that note. But again, we still have time. Relax. This is over at 7. Enjoy yourselves the rest of the evening. Thank you all for coming out.
And we are back, and we're back with Gwen Weber McLeod.
Hi, everybody.
You know, everybody, first of all, before we get into it, how awesome were their speakers?
Absolutely, it's amazing. I always say whenever people of color gather with our allies and our accomplices, something great always happens. And that's exactly what happened here tonight at the Central New York Community Foundation. Yeah.
You can feel it. It's like everything.
Right.
You can feel the spirit.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of energy in here.
Exactly. So,
absolutely.
All right. So next year, make sure you sign up because the event got sold out.
Exactly. This is the place to be.
Yeah.
This
and
is
the
place
food
to
is
be.
great. The
Absolutely.
conversation is great, and the connection.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
And first of all, congratulations on everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. I just feel so blessed that for whatever reason, God is using my life in a great big way. And it means so much to me. I'm very intentional about my life and the impact that I make. So I'm just so honored that I've been chosen to do the things that I do.
Yeah. I mean, definitely someone to look up to.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for all that you're doing for us women,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
and the message that you have been sending.
Right. Well, I think it's important for us, especially people of color, women of color, to recognize that the eye is the limit and that people are watching us, especially girls, people in our community all the time. And so we need to be intentional about what we show them. And it takes a minute, right? Because a lot of us would experience that as being vain and braggartly. And I think that's exactly what God wants me to do, is to show up in a very specific, intentional way so that he can use my life to make the impact that I'm the vessel that he created to use it for. So I'm very blessed and honored. I'm glad you see me.
You know, I thank you for saying that, because that's the thing, right? Because people go like, oh, no, like show off, and no, you're just showing what you're doing, and you're proud of it.
And someone's always watching us, a little girl in the grocery store, someone in your family. So it's so important to just be intentional.
For sure.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was like, aha, when you were talking, right? I was like, you mentioned, right, that you're living your insurance.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never thought of that.
Yeah, it was my way of making a legacy gift that'll have an impact beyond my life. So I'm what's called a legacy donor to the Black Excellence and Equity Fund, and I'm leaving $25,000 to this fund upon my death, and I'm doing it by using a life insurance policy and making the foundation a beneficiary. It's a very viable way that someone could make a big gift and have an impact.
For sure. And it's like we think about, oh no, and we have to have the money now to do it, but look at that.
Nope, you don't. Not at all. You can do it. And again, I was saying, you know, I'm choosing to leave $25,000 in this way, but if you have $25, it's historically true in our community that we've done everything by combining smaller donations to have a larger impact. And I think it's so important for us to make sure that we give and make sure that we put this fund on our donor list.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you so
You're
much. much.
welcome.
Thank you for everything.
So welcome. Well, you know, you're someone that I keep my eye on all the time. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for serving the community in the way that you do, Anna.
Of course, my pleasure. And
Yes.
again, the same thing with you. I've seen you. I
Absolutely.
remember one time we saw each other at an event, and you
Yeah.
said to me, you can't fail.
That's
and I'm
right.
like, what?
Yeah.
What
And
was
look
this?
and baby, look at you now. It's so true.
I love it.
It's
I love
so
it.
true.
Well, thank you so
Well,
much
thank
for
you for
being
this
here
opportunity.
and for everything.
I appreciate you. Thank
All
you so
right,
much.
thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
All right. Look at this. Look at it. Had to be you in big screen first. As
Yeah,
an
I saw that.
introduction.
Right, I don't know what that was about. It got a little too close to the grill, but
You know what I mean? So first of all, congratulations on this another successful
yeah.
event. Like the connection, the way you all like framed it this year, right?
Yeah.
Is what it is.
This is family.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I tell folks. This is just family, man. We know each other from various ways. We work together. We root for each other to win. And so I'm glad folks came out to have connection, conversation, collaboration. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. And I remember last year at around this time, we actually live streamed this event also last year, so you can go and check it out. At this time, the room was a little bit quieter. Tonight, everyone is still here, almost.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think, last year, admittedly, it was the start of the New York State Fair. So we got smart, and we decided, hey, let's let's not do that again.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so that was a smart move. That was a
Right.
really smart move because now look at this. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's just here, still enjoying, and
That's
still
it.
having the connection and the conversation in Sequoia, in her song. I mean,
That was beautiful.
you tried.
I'm saying, like, I mean, if they had given me a minute to warm up, I could have,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with
I'm more
you.
like, I would have done wintertime or something.
No, Darrell, no winter time, no winter time.
Okay.
So, all right, so let's talk about the Black Equity and Excellence Fund, right?
Sure.
Here's what I have for you all, and I know you mentioned this, but for those of you who are watching, this is the BE&E Fund has awarded a total of $1.3 million to Black-led organizations in the Central New York region since the inception of the fund in June 2020.
Absolutely. Yes. Doing big things. We're doing big things, but we hope to, at some point, do bigger things.
Right.
Right. What we'd like to do, and we're working on it, but we'd like to have an opportunity to endow this fund, right, which would make it a permanent thing. The Central New York Community Foundation is indeed committed to continuing to fund this, but we need bigger commitments to keep the party going. And so I have a great deal of faith and excitement that will happen in the near future.
Yeah, so what would it take for that to happen, to endow the fund?
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Okay.
But we are on the right track.
Okay.
We're headed there. And so I don't want to say too much too soon, but I feel very confident that will happen. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, okay, I got you. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. So let's give us an example of some of the organizations that have received the fund and what they have done and what you have seen them doing. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think many of you have just...
Community Foundation, Darrell, Kiana, and Tom.
We're getting paged.
If it would be all right, we have.
What happens live, and here, Black Equity and Excellence Fund connection event.
Hey, listen, when I say we family, we family. That was the typical family reunion activity right there. Just, you can go ahead and grab the mic and just start. That's what we do. But no, I actually told her she could do that. I didn't know she was going to do it then. But it's all good. I love my family.
It's a family thing.
Absolutely.
Let's go. Okay, so what are the organizations that you have seen? You're like, oh my gosh, yes, and you're so proud of them. And,
You asked me this question last year, and I felt some kind of way because it's very difficult to pinpoint particular ones. But what I'll do is I will speak to Half Hood, Half Holistic. I think that was one of the excellent ones that we funded in the last grant round.
Okay.
And just the work that they do, having a very different approach to mental health and mental wellness for both men, women, and families, I think is that's just a unique way to approach mental health, and that's necessary for Black folk in particular.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's one of the reasons why I like asking this question is because some might be, I don't know if this will be, if this will be a thing. This is different.
Yeah.
It's not like that. And then for you to say, you know what, that was different, but it's a great approach,
and that's,
right?
And that's kind of what we're looking for too. We're looking for alternative methods. We're looking for new, more creative ideas on how to create impact, right? And so that's not to say that some of the things that we've done before, that we've funded before, don't work. But we need to be able to work a little quicker.
Right.
We need to make larger impact.
Yeah.
And so that calls for different approaches.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. I love what you're doing, and I love the involvement and how willing you are to meet with those who have questions about the fund.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you have any questions about it, Darrell is so open.
I'm your guy.
Right? He's so open to meeting you, to talking with you, to explaining the process to you. And you have also a way the fund is going to be again next year?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Without question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Without
Right?
question. That's
Right.
not even,
Okay.
No, we're looking long term.
There we go.
Yeah.
Next year, right? And so you have sessions for those first applicants.
Yeah, absolutely. Each year we try to do an information session. And this session essentially just gives a breakdown of what the Black Equity and Excellence Fund is, how are you eligible to apply, and what does applying look like, right? And so we want to have conversation around putting people in the best place to win. So we make sure that we have that information session. We make sure that we give folks an opportunity to ask questions in advance of applying. And it's been quite effective. I think our numbers grew in terms of how many people attended this year's information session. Our numbers grew for this event.
Right.
All right, so we just need that other money to grow. We need that to grow to keep this thing going. So
Yeah.
we're excited, but we feel very confident that the growth will continue.
Yes, and I love that. And
Yeah.
with the work that you are all doing and all the improvements and all the connections that have been made in the community, I can see that going nothing
Yeah.
but high and high and
For
high.
sure,
Just
for
like
sure.
you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
So Darrell, any advice you would like to offer to those who might be wanting to donate and they don't know how to donate to the fund and keep it going? And
Yeah.
also to those who want to participate and be a grantee, apply for it.
Sure. So first, let's talk about donation. You can always donate to the Black Equity and Excellence Fund by going to our website at cnycf.org/equity. There you can make a donation. Doesn't matter how small or how big. It will be appreciated. But certainly, specific to application, our grant round usually is from the first week of May up until the first week of July.
Okay.
And so it's about 2 months that you have to apply. But the good news is our application is very creative. It is very short and concise application. So it is easy to complete in one sitting. And we don't ask for a lot because we trust that the folk that are typically applying are folks that are proximate to the issues in the community, folks that know what the problem is, and we just want to hear what you gonna do. What's your creative idea to do something about it?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Awesome. And I hear that from Kiana, right? Your
Yeah.
right-hand woman,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
I heard that, and actually I heard from Jalen that video are really good, right? The video puts you a little bit.
We are encouraging, you can apply for BE&E by simply completing our online application. You can, submit some attachments to that application, but you can do a one-page report. You can submit it that way. You can submit a PowerPoint. You can also submit a video. And I know I'm talking your language here, but we encourage video. I'll be honest with you. I'm just sharing with y'all. If you've got, let's say, 50, 65 applications coming in, and any chance someone reviewing your application can watch a video, right? That's always a good look.
Yeah.
It's not mandatory. It's not necessary. But just trying to throw you a little
different.
might be a good thing to consider.
It's a little more like
Yeah.
additional effort, right?
Yeah.
And then you can see the personality also coming through.
Absolutely, but I tell people all the time, we can tell our own story in many different ways. And so that's why we wanted to make sure we had several ways that you can submit an application. Some folk are, much better with video, right? They can get their point across and really talk about their impact with that medium.
Right.
But some are much better with written word.
Yeah.
And so we want to just create space for folks to do what works for them.
Yeah, see? Inclusive. I mean,
That's it.
love it. I
Right.
love it. And this video, Darrell, it doesn't have to be like, a whole production. It could be
No.
on your cell phone, right?
Yeah. Give us what you got. We don't give points for quality of production.
Yeah.
So,
The quality of the message.
No, we're really about the scope of the project itself. Like, what is it? What are you doing? What do you plan to do? And what's different about what you're planning to do?
Yeah. Okay, Darrell. Yes, thank you so much for
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you for. I mean, I'm still looking around and I'm like.
People are still hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
it is 7. Yeah, you gotta wrap this thing up.
And it's not because of the food, because they're not around the food.
No.
It's about the conversation.
It's
Right?
yeah. This is family. Like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
folks are just chopping it up and they don't want to go home. But
It's a Friday night too. All right, everybody, Darrell, if you have any questions for him, Darrell, how do they contact you?
You can always go to our website and you can look up my contact information. I've got like a million email addresses, so I don't know which one's coming to me right now. You can always reach out to me or connect with me. I'm always open to have lunch, have coffee. Let's chop it up. Let's figure out how to make things work. I'm out here. You don't see me just in this suit. You see me out in the hood. I'm all over the place. I'm from here. It's natural for me. So just pull me to the side and let's talk.
And it's true. It is true. Every single word is true. All right, so everyone, thank you so much. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, everyone. It is the end of the night, but really, not really, right? Because everyone is still here. Now they moved to the porch. So now everybody is on the porch, just continuing the conversation. So thank you so much for joining us. Remember that you can always contact Darrell or Kiana in the website, as he mentioned, Central New York Community Foundation, and go and search under team, and you will find Kiana and Darrell there as well. And thank you so much for tuning in and asking your questions and sending your comments. We really appreciate it. And if we don't see you around, we will see you next year. But if you are in the Syracuse community, I'm pretty sure we will see you around. My name is Ana Hill from Officially-Unofficial, and you are watching Central New York Community Foundation, Black Equity and Excellence, Connection, and Community Engagement. Bye.